Let's do this. Sean Payton. Let's just get into it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm not because I don't want to talk about him, but
Yeah.
like, what else what more is there to say?
Well, we didn't talk because last time we talked was before the 2 reports came out, right? So we had 2 reports come out in the last couple days here, both on the same day. Basically, one from Pro Football Talk says, hey, the worst kept secret in the league right now is that Sean Payton and Tom Brady are trying to join the New Orleans Saints in the offseason.
That means that shit ain't happening.
Okay, that's fair. The other one is from Jeff Duncan, and it says Dennis Allen will not be fired as Saints head coach.
Nick backed that one up, so I trust it.
Nick backed that one up?
Nick said it's unlikely.
Well, I mean, I think we all know that it's unlikely.
But when Nick says something like that,
that's true.
it tends to feel like it's
All right.
not an opinion.
Well, you just threw this whole fucking
But no.
conversation out the window.
I don't know, man. I was thinking about it last night. Like, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he comes back here. But when there's this much smoke around something,
A lot of smoke.
there's something. There's something there.
A lot of smoke.
Whether it's, I don't know. It seems like if the season had just gone completely off the rails, that maybe it would happen. But like everybody keeps saying, I think, not that we agree with it, but that he's done enough now to where they're going to keep him. I think, like, even if they lose, so if they lose to the Eagles, like, nobody's really gonna count that against anybody for losing to the Eagles.
Yeah.
And then you lose the last game, But like, you can see like they're not giving up on him. Like, the first thing that happened after the game was Malcolm Roach went give him a big ass hug on the sideline. Like, the players are still.
Everybody
buying
loves
into
him as a guy, like as a person.
Yeah,
That's a given.
it's just you're not. So like when you look at the Broncos, like they just fired Nathaniel Hackett. Like, their quarterbacks are fighting the offensive linemen on the sideline. Like, you're not seeing that shit on the Saints sideline. Like, they still seem together. Like, he hasn't lost the team, at least from an outside perspective. He hasn't lost the team. So I think that's what ends up saving his job.
I have a question. I'm only going to ask this because it just came into my head. In sports in general, I'm going to preface it. In sports in general, you have winning cultures, you have losing cultures. Everybody assumes the Saints have a winning culture because they've won for a long time. Do they have a losing culture though? And I'm going to tell you why that randomly popped in my head. Over the last 5-6 seasons, you've just had some really weird bad beats that have happened. The last 2 seasons, you had so many injuries. You don't finish above 500 in either season. Like, have they seen enough bad shit happen to where they're just jaded and they're just like, it is what it is. Eventually we'll get this right. Or we won't. I don't fucking know. Like, you know what I mean? How, like, eventually that shit can creep in and, like, what do you do?
I don't think they have a culture this year. It doesn't, like, and even last year with all the injuries and stuff, it just felt, like you said, like, kind of out of whack. Like, when they had a culture, like the culture we think of when we think of the Sean Payton teams, like, it was obvious. Like, they had a swag on defense. They were dancing on the side. Like, everybody felt bought in. There was a very obvious culture. When you watch them now, it's like they have no identity. Like, it doesn't seem like they're super energized on either side of the ball.
Yeah.
It just does. It doesn't feel like a losing culture. It just seems like there's nothing to buy in. Like, they're not buying into anything.
So I think that is
a losing
culture.
Okay.
When you don't
if that's
have
if
anything.
that's what your definition of it is, then yeah, I'll agree.
Because I think that they're lost, and that to your point, and I said that earlier this year too. They don't have an identity at all,
especially on offense.
On either side of the ball, they don't even stop the run like they used to. Like, they have no identity. The defense is okay. It steps up in some moments, which is awesome. But I think even the defense sometimes is just like, fuck, the offense ain't gonna score. What are we gonna do?
It's just so dull to watch a Saints game right now.
That's something I said the other day. Somebody was talking about the Eagles need like a style points win over the Saints. And I said, there's one thing I can guarantee you. No one is getting style points from a Saints game. Yeah, these games have been ugly as fuck.
It's just
all
so
year.
dull. Like, we've talked about it before. I like somewhat jokingly said, like, if you're gonna lose and suck, like, at least be entertaining. And it's just not. Like, it's not. Even when they win, I'm like, well, that sucked. Like, Like this last game, I'm like,
Oh, it was terrible.
what a terrible 4 hours I just spent of my life.
This last game was such an anomaly to me too, because I'm like, yeah, whatever, like season's over, and like I know that we didn't have a chance to really make the playoffs no matter what, like it is what it is. And then I'm watching the game and I am just so angry at the lack of understanding of how to win a football game.
It's not, you know what it is? It's not even like anger for me. It's just like it's I guess I don't know if it's the same thing, but it's frustration. Like this is the same shit that has been going on for 15 weeks now. Like coming into a game where it is negative whatever degrees, just snow, and you come out trying to pass the ball.
Dude,
what are we doing? I just like it wasn't frustration that we might have lost, because at the end of the day, like I don't care. I don't give a shit if we lose. I'm like, if you know, like, all right, so we all sit here and we're like, they should do this, they should do that, and some people are more knowledgeable about the X's and O's of football than others. None of us are as smart as these coaches. None of us.
No, that's fair. That's
like,
totally fair.
Well, I don't want to say none of us, because there are people that just study film and shit, obviously, that understand it. But if we are sitting at home saying, yeah, Taysom should get 20 carries this game, that's the bare minimum of analysis, you know? And they come out and he doesn't get a touch until 3 minutes left in the first half.
Sometimes you can be too smart and you can overthink things.
But it's not even like they were trying to be creative outside of that. They're just throwing the same boring-ass routes out there, still not using your player. Like,
listen, I'm normally not the one for football games, just because I don't know what it is about football anymore, but I don't get as heated. I'm normally not the one for football games to yell at the TV or get too worked up, or like if there's a big play, I'm like, yeah, all right, cool, like that's it. That's what you get out of me. I'm not like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like I'm never that guy for football. Tulane, yes, not the Saints. I'm like that for basketball, totally different. But this last game, when I tell you, I'm like, I see the formation they come out in, and I'm yelling at the TV,
Dude,
what the fuck are you doing?
I find myself legitimately laughing at my TV every week, week in, week out. Like, I'm not yelling. I'm not, like, when big plays happen, like you're saying, I'm like, all right, cool. We should get this guy the ball again. And then he doesn't get the ball anymore. Like, it could be Shaheed. It could be anybody. And I'm like, I legitimately find myself laughing that, like they don't use Taysom, and then the first time he gets the ball, it's like 10 yards. I'm like,
oh, yeah. Yeah, and my wife thinks I'm nuts, and then what I say should be happening happens, and she's like, oh. And then I look like a genius, so thanks, Saints.
Yeah.
No, there was one play. It's like 3rd and 1. I don't remember the very specifics anymore. It's like 3rd and 1. They come out 5 wide in the shotgun. And I'm like, I'm staring at the TV, and I look at my wife, and I'm like, they're really about to do this to me?
This is really did you see it? They had, what's that dude's name? Dove, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He shared a video, it was of the Saints and Bucks game, the one that we just lost, where Brady came back. It was when they threw the slant to Callaway on 3rd and 1 at the end of the game.
What a dumb play.
Carlton Davis stops the play, and he's mic'd up. He gets up, he says, y'all do that every time. He literally looks at Callaway, he says, every 3rd and 1, you run a slant. On God. And he just walks off. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Dude, I was listening to Nick's their podcast last night. Like, they're last in motion in the league. Like, the most basic thing. They're last in pre-snap motion. He said you can double it, and they'd still be last. Like, there's no... I'm telling you, I think Carmichael's trying to get fired. He has to be. He's sitting there
when you sent that tweet, I was like, yo, this is the only thing I've seen that makes sense in this situation.
Every weekend, he's got to be sitting there. Like, I imagine he goes home at night, and he's like, I don't know what I got to do. Like, what? He said, like, he goes in at halftime, I tried not to give him the ball. I tried to get left here, and they just keep bringing me back. And if you think about it, he didn't want the job at the beginning of the year. He was gonna go be like an analysis or whatever for the team. He didn't want to be the offensive coordinator, and they just whatever they did to get him to do it. And now he's like,
remember that one
I'm so
year
tired
where
of
you
doing
called
it.
all the plays and they did really well, but
I'm
Drew
so
Brees
tired of
was
doing
like,
this shit. That's what he said. He must listen to this podcast because he's officially tired of this shit.
Officially tired of this shit. Jesus Christ.
It's just, at the very least, like, I'm sure there's people out there that are arguing to keep Dennis Allen for some reason. At the very least, I think we all agree that Pete Carmichael has it. It's got to be done.
It's got to be done. It's got to be done. Like, I don't see what.
And even if by some miracle Sean comes back, somebody else. Like, you need to bring in some new life.
Listen, I'm assuming they're keeping Dennis Allen. I've been assuming that for a long time now. Even with us talking about Peyton, like that's a pipe dream, and if it happens, awesome. But it's got to be done. Like, he's got to be the scapegoat, even if he's not the reason. He's got to be gone.
He's not even a scapegoat. Like, he deserves to be fired.
No,
like,
no.
He's got more than enough time. Say what you want about both quarterbacks. Andy Dalton has been good enough to win football games.
Top 5. PFF, Pro Football Focus. Who is that puts that out? They rank enough people. I'm giving them credit.
It's so dull. That's like the best word I have to describe it. Like, there's no creativity. There's no running one. Like, when Sean would call plays, you could see he was calling something to set something else up later in the game. This is just like, Pete's is like, you know what? Fuck it. Run the ball.
I feel like Pete is – I actually made this reference to my wife last game. I feel like Pete's like a 12-year-old playing Madden, and he's just picking plays.
He definitely is just hitting random.
Yeah. He's just picking plays. I tell you what, you guys that play Madden out there, if you don't actually follow like the YouTube and run all those cheese plays, you'll find yourself calling the same damn plays over and over. That's what Pete Carmichael's doing.
Except he calls them when they don't work.
Yeah, he's just like, this has worked before. Let's see.
Dude, they have to. They have got to do something. And you know what? That's literally the only thing that gives me any hope for next year if they bring Dennis Allen back, is that maybe they get somebody in here that can run an offense that's so good that DA can focus so much on the defense, get that shit right.
But who would that even be?
I don't know. Who's going to want to come here with?
It don't look good.
You're not going to convince – like, if Sean was still here, you could convince an offensive coordinator from another team to come here and be an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to want – unless they look at it as maybe this guy gets fired and I could get the job.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. You're going to have to find, like, a QB coach somewhere that could just –
Here's the thing. I'm talking negative. I'm going to talk positive for a second. Well, I'm going to start with this. The overall feel of the team does not feel great. So I agree. Like, some guy coming here, like, as it being a shiny place to come or a nice job to come to, like, it doesn't look great. But this roster is still really talented. Like, people are hating on the team. They're acting like you got to blow it up, and maybe you do just to start over. But, like, the team is still really talented.
They got to get younger. They have to. They got to get.
That's always a balancing act, though. Like,
they're the oldest team in the league.
Are they really?
Yeah.
God damn.
The oldest team in the league. They got to.
Damn.
But you know what? But no, I'm with you because, like, so, like, as much shit as I've given Tyron, like, the last few weeks, like, he's played well. He played a really physical game in a game where it does not. You would think he's like, all right, let's stand back and not do nothing But dude, he was he was making hits and making big plays. Like, your signings are starting to look a little better. Yet I think the biggest disaster on this team is the defensive line right now, because
they're just injuries. Cam's getting old, but Cam still looks phenomenal. But I mean, Cam's getting old.
That's the thing. You would like Cam. If Cam was falling off, you'd be like, okay, like, it's expected at some point. Like, he came in with J.J. Watt and Von Miller, who are both clearly on their way.
Right.
Well, JJ's on his way out.
Officially done. Well,
granted, he had all those injuries, but like, dude, you have so much invested in that defensive line. Like, they pay on Yamada a big contract. You you spent 3 first-round picks between Davenport and Peyton Turner. I don't know where Peyton Turner is. Like, if he's ever on the field, I don't see him.
Is he hurt again?
I don't know. He might be. Who knows?
He had that one game where he played phenomenal and then he got hurt.
It doesn't matter if he's hurt. He doesn't do anything when he's on the field. Davenport, is he hurt? Is he playing? Yeah, I don't know. He's got like half a sack on the season. Like, what a disaster of a contract year for him. Like,
poor guy.
I mean,
comes back cheap.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
We get 4 more years of Davenport.
I don't know. That's your linebackers are looking good though. Like you're saying,
So that's what I'm saying.
You do got good players.
That's where I'm thinking positively, right? Your DBs look good. I mean, I know we're talking about Teron and Marcus.
You're loaded at cornerback.
Yeah, your corners look good. Your linebackers look good. DeMario's getting old, but you got Werner waiting in the wings. You look okay, right? Like you're not far off. Now, do you need one piece? No. You need to like backfill. You need to do a couple things. You're gonna have to. DeMario's gonna eventually fall off. Like he's not gonna stay playing.
Yeah, he's kind of taking a little step back. Sure, I know he made the Pro Bowl and everything, but he's taking a little bit of a step back. He's not that he's taking a step back. He's moving a little slower than.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
of
course,
it's gonna happen.
Not a knock on him. It just that's life.
Your O line is always it's like a revolving door. Like guys are in and out.
And you know what? It's like it doesn't matter who they bring in because they get down to the third or fourth person on the depth chart at every position at some point in the year. Like if that's gonna keep happening, it don't matter who the head coach is. It don't matter who we have anywhere. I don't know what they could even do about that.
Yeah, I think in general, like it's funny because like I feel like wide receiver is probably a strength now, and I don't think that I would have thought that coming in.
Well, yeah, you stumble into Shaheed and
Shaheed Olave. If Michael Thomas can come back healthy, that's a killer lineup there. Your tight ends are solid, believe it or not. I didn't think they were gonna be, but
Jawan is one of them is solid.
Yeah, I mean you keep Fish for, a blocking tight end basically.
Sure. Why
Whatever, Troutman.
Why not?
And you still got Taysom giving you the H-back role, whatever.
Yeah, and if you bring in a new offense that's creative, you re-energize Alvin. Like
that's the big thing. Alvin just looks like another fucking guy out
there. Get
there.
somebody in here. That should be number one. Get somebody in here that is going to use the guys you have. Like Alvin, I know people are shitting on him for all these like the season he's had, but you just watch the plays he runs. Like there's nothing. It's just running straight to the back of the line. Yeah. There's no screen passes. There's nothing. I'm still baffled. And this is a Sean thing, too. He got paid. They stopped lining him up outside. Like, he legit used to just line up at receiver. They don't do it anymore. Yeah, it's just like, I don't understand why you pay. And everybody says ever since he got paid, he fell off. It's like.
Well, the play calling completely changed.
It's not him. It's. Like, I don't understand why you pay a guy because you pay him all that money because of the two things he can do well, and then you take away half of it. Like one of the big things for me this offseason, I think, is getting another guy that can fill in like the old Mark Ingram role, and having that can allow Alvin to number one not be the workhorse. And I don't like when people say he's getting paid $20 million or whatever, he should be the workhorse. I'm like, no, I don't think so.
No running back.
Right.
No running back should be the workhorse. Like, I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Well, Derrick Henry should be the workhorse.
Well, he's an anomaly. Like, he's the exception. He's not the rule,
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
But, yeah, I mean, it's tough. You definitely need another running back. You need to shore up the offensive line. You need a quarterback. There's a lot of holes. I don't know. It's disheartening, but there's a lot of talent still to build something. If you get a guy like Tom Brady and Sean Payton in here,